In a distant village located between rolling hills and a vast forest, there lived a beautiful young woman named Yasha. Her beauty was beyond compare, with skin as smooth as silk, long flowing hair that glistened like the sun, and eyes that sparkled like the stars. Every man in the village was enchanted by her, but there was something mysterious about Yasha. She never allowed anyone to come too close, always keeping her distance. What the villagers didn't know was that Yasha was hiding a dark secret. She was not entirely human. Yasha was born in the hidden snake kingdom deep within the forest. The snake kingdom was a magical place where creatures with the ability to change their form from snake to human lived. Yasha had always been fascinated by humans and dreamed of living among them. One day, she fled her kingdom, leaving behind her snake family to start a new life among the people she had long admired. As she settled into her new life in the village, Yasha quickly became known as the most beautiful girl in town. She lived a quiet life, earning a living by selling vegetables in the market. Every day, people from all over the village would come to buy her fresh produce, enchanted not only by the quality of her goods but also by her beauty. However, Yasha was always careful not to let anyone get too close. At night, she would lock herself in her small cottage, afraid that her true nature would be revealed. Each night, she would change back into her snake form to sleep, a secret she had to keep at all costs. One day, while Yasha was selling her vegetables at the market, she met a man named Yuri. Yuri was a meat seller who had a stall right next to hers. He was known for selling different kinds of meat, including snake meat, which was a delicacy in the village. Yuri was a strong and handsome man, and like everyone else, he was drawn to Yasha. He would often strike up conversations with her, trying to get to know her better, but Yasha always kept him at arm's length. Despite Yasha's attempts to distance herself, Yuri was persistent. He would bring her gifts of the finest cuts of meat, hoping to win her favor. Yasha, wary of getting too close to anyone, accepted the gifts but remained guarded. She could not afford to let anyone discover her secret. One evening, after a long day at the market, Yasha overheard a conversation between Yuri and one of his customers. The customer asked Yuri where he got his snake meat, as it was the best in the village. Yuri chuckled and replied, "I have my ways. The forest is full of secrets, and I know where to find the best snakes." A chill ran down Yasha's spine as she realized what Yuri was saying. He was hunting and killing the very creatures from her kingdom, her own people, and selling their meat to the villagers. The thought horrified her, and she knew she had to stay away from Yuri. He would surely see her as nothing more than a commodity if he ever discovered her true identity. Terrified, Yasha fled from Yuri and the market, determined never to return. She knew she needed help if she was going to remain among humans without being discovered. She decided to visit Amiri, one of the ancient gods worshipped by her people. Amiri was known for granting wishes, but his gifts always came with a price. Yasha journeyed deep into the forest, to a hidden temple where Amiri was said to reside. When she arrived, she knelt before the god and pleaded with him to make her fully human. Amiri, with his deep rumbling voice, responded, "I can grant your wish, Yasha, but know that all gifts come with a price. You may live as a human, but when the time comes for you to give birth, you will give birth as a snake." Yasha, desperate to remain among humans, agreed to the terms. Amiri granted her wish, and from that day on, Yasha no longer had to change back into a snake at night. She could live freely as a human, without fear of her secret being discovered. But the price weighed heavily on her mind. One day, when she was ready to have children, her true nature would be revealed. Time passed, and Yasha tried to forget about the curse. She continued to live in the village, now more confident that she could blend in with the humans. She even allowed herself to socialize more, and it wasn't long before she heard about a grand event being held in the village. The richest man in the village, a wealthy merchant named Chief Adissa, had twin sons named Duma and Zuma. They were both strong, handsome, and well-loved by the villagers, but they were as different as night and day. Duma was kind and gentle, while Zuma was ambitious and fierce. Chief Adissa had decided to host a competition to find suitable wives for his sons. The winner of the competition would marry one of the sons, and whoever could find a wife first would become his successor and inherit all his wealth. The competition became the talk of the village, and many young women eagerly prepared to participate. Yasha, hearing about the event, thought that this might be her chance to secure a future among humans. If she could win the competition and marry one of Chief Adissa's sons, she would finally be safe and accepted. The day of the competition arrived, and the village square was filled with excitement. Young women from all over the village gathered, each hoping to win the hearts of Duma or Zuma. The competition consisted of various challenges designed to test the women's skills, intelligence, and character. Yasha participated in the competition, and her beauty and grace quickly caught the attention of both Duma and Zuma. The challenges were tough, but Yasha used her intelligence and charm to win them over. Duma, with his gentle heart, was especially drawn to Yasha. He admired her kindness and the way she treated others, and it wasn't long before he declared his love for her. Zuma, who was more competitive and driven by ambition, was also interested in Yasha, but he could see that his brother had already fallen for her. Rather than cause conflict between them, Zuma stepped aside, allowing Duma to pursue Yasha without interference. Duma and Yasha were soon married in a grand ceremony, and the entire village celebrated their union. Yasha was happy, but in the back of her mind, she couldn't forget Amiri's warning. She knew that when the time came for her to give birth, her secret would be revealed. As the months passed, Yasha and Duma's love grew stronger, and soon Yasha discovered she was pregnant. Duma was overjoyed, and the village was excited to welcome a new member to the family. But Yasha was filled with dread. She knew that the time was approaching when her true nature would be exposed. As Yasha's due date drew nearer, she became more and more anxious. She avoided being around others as much as possible, fearing that someone might notice something unusual about her. Duma, concerned for his wife, tried to comfort her, but Yasha couldn't bring herself to tell him the truth. Finally, the night arrived when Yasha was to give birth. The village midwives gathered at their home, ready to assist with the delivery. Duma waited outside, eager to meet his child, but as the labor pains began, Yasha knew that something was wrong. Her body began to change, and the midwives watched in horror as Yasha's legs fused together, her skin turning scaly and green. Her beautiful human form transformed into that of a giant snake, and the midwives screamed in terror. Duma, hearing the commotion, rushed into the room, only to find his beloved wife in her true form. His heart sank as he realized that Yasha had been hiding her true identity all along. The midwives fled the house, spreading the news throughout the village. The villagers were shocked and frightened, unable to believe that the beautiful Yasha was a snake in disguise. Duma, torn between his love for Yasha and the fear of what she had become, didn't know what to do. Yasha, seeing the fear in Duma's eyes, felt her heart break. She knew that she could no longer stay in the village. With tears in her eyes, Yasha whispered to Duma, "I'm sorry. I never meant to deceive you. I love you, but I can't stay here anymore." She slithered out of the house and disappeared into the night, leaving behind the life she had built among humans. Yasha returned to the forest, back to the snake kingdom she had once fled. She knew that she could never live among humans again, but she would always carry the memory of her time with Duma in her heart. As for Duma, he was left to grapple with the loss of the woman he loved. He knew that Yasha had been more than just a snake. She had been a kind, loving soul who had tried to find a place among humans. But the curse that had been placed on her by the gods had ultimately led to her downfall. The villagers, though fearful at first, eventually came to understand that Yasha had never meant them harm. They spoke of her in hushed tones, remembering her as the beautiful girl who had once lived among them, hiding a secret that no one could have ever imagined. And so, the story of Yasha, the girl who was never known to be a snake until she was about to give birth, became a legend in the village. A tale of love, loss, and the consequences of living a life built on secrets. Till we meet again, please subscribe, like, comment, and share to all your loved ones. Bye, besties.